Today is January the 8th. Today, let's look at Jesus' genealogy. There are two genealogical records of Jesus in the Gospels, Matthew chapter 1 and Luke chapter 3. They vary slightly, but both concur in tracing Jesus' genealogy back through David. Let's read Matthew 1, 2 to 17. Abraham was the father of Isaac, and Isaac the father of Jacob. Jacob was the father of Judah and his brothers, and Judah the father of Perez and Zerah by Tamar. Perez the father of Hezron, Hezron the father of Aram, and Aram the father of Amminadab, Amminadab the father of Nahshon, and Nahshon the father of Salmon, Salmon the father of Boaz by Rahab, and Boaz, the father of Obed, by Ruth. Obed, the father of Jesse, and Jesse, the father of King David. David was the father of Solomon by the wife of Uriah. Solomon, the father of Rehoboam. Rehoboam, the father of Abijah, and Abijah, the father of Asaph. Asaph, the father of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, the father of Joram, and Joram, the father of Uzziah, Uzziah the father of Jotham, and Jotham the father of Ahaz, and Ahaz the father of Hezekiah, Hezekiah the father of Manasseh, and Manasseh the father of Amos, Amos the father of Josiah, Josiah the father of Jeconiah and his brothers at the time of the deportation to Babylonia. And after the deportation to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Salathiel, and Salathiel the father of Zerubbabel, Zerubbabel the father of Abiud, and Abiud the father of Eliakim, Eliakim the father of Azor, and Azor the father of Zadok, Zadok the father of Achim, Achim the father of Eliud, and Eliud the father of Eleazar, Eleazar the father of Mathan, and Mathan the father of Jacob. Jacob was the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom Jesus was born, who is called the Messiah. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. From David to the deportation to Babylon, 14 generations. And from the deportation to Babylon to the Messiah, 14 generations. It's a very interesting genealogy. Now, what Matthew does is he eliminates certain people. This is a fairly common practice in genealogies. You skip over some to make a point. Matthew's point is simply that he wanted a total of 40 generations. 14 from Abraham to David, 14 from David to the deportation, 14 from the deportation to Jesus. The reason why he wanted 40, this is important in Israel's history, 40 years in the desert. Jesus then spent 40 days in the desert. 40 is the number of trials and testing. But not so much here, because 40 is also the number of new beginnings and new growth. Moses spent 40 days on Mount Sinai before he came and gave the law. Matthew mentions 4 women in his genealogy. He mentions Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, and although he doesn't name her by name, Bathsheba, then of course he mentions Mary at the end. All of these ladies were in difficult circumstances, but they all aligned with God's plan and purpose. Let's read some of the story of Ruth. We'll read Ruth 1 and the end of chapter 4. Stick around afterward. We'll talk about what we have heard.
Ruth 1 and 4, 13 through 22. New Revised Standard Version. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a certain man from Bethlehem in Judah went to live in the country of Moab, he and his wife and 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in Judah. They went into the country of Moab and remained there. But Elimelech, the husband of Naomi, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. These took Moabite wives. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. When they had lived there about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion also died, so that the woman was left without her 2 sons, or her husband. Then she started to return with her daughters-in-law from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab that the Lord had considered his people and had given them food. So she set out from the place where she had been living, she and her 2 daughters-in-law. And they went on their way to go back to the land of Judah. But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back each of you to your mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant that you may find security each of you in the house of your husband." Then she kissed them, and they wept aloud. They said to her, "No, we will return with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Do I still have sons in my womb that they may become your husbands? Turn back, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. Even if I thought there was hope for me, even if I should have a husband tonight and bear sons, would you then wait until they were grown? Would you then refrain from marrying? No, my daughters. It has been far more bitter for me than for you, because the hand of the Lord has turned against me." Then they wept aloud again. Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. So she said, "See, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law." But Ruth said, "Do not press me to leave you, or turn back from following you. Where you go, I go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die. There I will be buried. May the Lord do thus and so to me, and more as well if even death parts me from you." When Naomi saw that she was determined to go with her, she said no more to her. So the 2 of them went on until they came to Bethlehem. When they came to Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them, and the women said, "Is this Naomi?" She said to them, "Call me no longer Naomi, call me Mora, for the Almighty has dealt bitterly with me. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi when the Lord has dealt harshly with me, and the Almighty has brought calamity upon me?" So Naomi returned together with Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, who came back with her from the country of Moab. They came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Ruth 4, 13 through 22. So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. When they came together, the Lord made her conceive, and she bore a son. Then the women said to Naomi, "Blessed is the Lord, who has not left you this day without next of kin, and may his name be renowned in Israel. He shall be to you a restorer of life and a nourisher of your old age. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you, who is more to you than 7 sons, has borne him." Then Naomi took the child and laid him in her bosom and became his nurse. The women of the neighborhood gave him a name, saying, "A son has been born to Naomi." They named him Obed. He became the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now these are the descendants of Perez. Perez became the father of Hezron, Hezron of Ram, Ram of Amminadab, Amminadab of Nahshon, Nahshon of Solomon, Solomon of Boaz, Boaz of Obed, Obed of Jesse, and Jesse of David.
What a beautiful story. As you will have noticed, the key to Ruth's success was her commitment to Naomi and her commitment to Naomi's God. Today, what do we need to do as a result of what we've heard? Well, Ruth was faithful to Naomi and faithful to Naomi's God. Today, let's look around and see who in our life has been faithful. And let's let them know how we appreciate that. If you like what you've heard, please share it with your friends on the platform you use to listen.